October. We've started January on a decent note. We are looking forward to the build up to the budget and, of course, the third quarter earnings as well. With us is Abhishek Basu Malik. Let's see what his thoughts are on sentiment at Dalal Street. Abhishek, how are you seeing the markets on the first day of 2025?
First of all, very warm greetings. Happy New Year to you and all your viewers. See, I think we don't need to be very exuberant about the first day of trade. Like we should not have been very despondent uh, by the last, say, couple of months where the markets were not going anywhere or going down. I think this is par for the course. We are probably still in a range and will likely to be in a range after last couple of years of good rally in the markets. So I think this is part of that phase uh, where we are going to digest the gains that we've made over the last couple of years. So I am not neither very exuberant nor despondent about the way the markets are.
Very good afternoon to you, Abhishek, and thank you so much for joining in and for your warm greetings as well. We extend the same to you. May this year turn out to be a fantastic one for you, for your loved ones, and for your entire team at IntelSense as well. Now, of course, that's the market outlook, but there are several gems that you've shared during the course of our interactions in 2024. Just on top of the mind, I remember Genus Power is something that you had caught like really early for all our viewers right there, somewhere probably when the stock must have been around 120, 130 odd levels. What is your own sense of what can be actually seen in 2025? Any key gems that you're betting big on to provide handsome returns in the new year?
So I think some of the older themes continue to look good. For me, I think the government focus on infrastructure is going to continue. This is a government which has come back, and the focus is very clear that infrastructure, especially railways, airports, ports, defense, these are areas where I think one should keep looking at. So, and also power, right? So these are the sectors that I personally like, and then offshoots of these. So companies which are going to benefit from uptake in any one of these sectors, that is something which I'm actually looking at very closely.
Fair. Let's look at some other parts of the market where you see fairly decent gains coming in. We'll focus on the volume buzzers. Sakshi, one thing is there, while we might talk about decent gains and the fact that the first day has turned out well, there is hardly any participation. The top traded counter today is Go Digit, 957 crores. You have MobiKwik, which is recently listed, so I didn't mention that. This is the top traded, 1450 crores. ITI, 955 crores. KNS Technologies, 750 crores. SGVN, 707 crores. This is really big compared with what SGVN trades on a regular basis. And the first counter from the Nifty are Adani Enterprises, 669 crores, and ITC, 691 crores. So, you know, the usual names like Reliance, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank are nowhere to be found in the first 5-7. So one needs to be cautious as far as these changes are concerned. And of course, all parts of defense are doing very well. Bharat Dynamics 1% higher, Garden Reach 3.4% higher, Mazgaon post its split is more active, 2.2% higher, 2277, and of course a strong move coming into Idea Forge, 5% higher, 620 rupees. So across the board, there is some active interest in the markets of those erstwhile favorites that we used to talk about on a daily basis. Sakshi.
The auto space clearly is in the fast lane today. Let's get Mr. Basmalik to talk about this space as to what is the outlook going to be like. It's been a mixed bag so far in 2024 for the auto space. There were several challenges that both the two-wheelers and the four-wheelers have actually had to face. Muted demand post-festive season again kept spirits low for the entire sector. But but December sales somehow are again fueling some spark back into the sector. M&M has seen about 18% jump in December car sales. Maruti has seen about a 30% jump. Bajaj Auto, on the other hand, has seen muted this time sales around in December. What is your entire outlook on the auto space? Do you think this space will make money for investors in the new year?
I'm slightly a little bit more skeptical on the auto space, especially the bigger auto companies. I think what is happening is December numbers were good. Typically, is usually good for autos because of the year-end discounts, etc., which push sales. But I think there is definitely some challenges in terms of disposable income. So the mid-segment cars, higher-end motorbikes, etc., will struggle, in my opinion. Uh, Companies which have products at the higher ranges, so more of so premium offerings will probably tend to do better. Companies which are coming out with newer models, etc., will probably tend to do a little bit better. But overall, I'm not that bullish on autos per se.
What are you bullish on, Abhishek? What looks good for 2025?
Like I said, I think, see, my theory has always been to follow the money. And right now, what is happening is the big spender, right, is the government, whether it is the state governments and the central governments. So that is, that those are the entities which are spending money. So you have to sort of look at sectors which are going to benefit from government spending. What are those, top ones that come to mind? It is railways, it is, roads, it is airports, defense, power. Uh, these are the ones which are the top of the mind. And then if you just sort of look at one level below, so companies which feed into all of this, all of these industries, they will tend to do well. So that is my overall thesis as of now, that if you follow the money in terms of who is spending at the customer level, uh, you will be able to figure out where the which companies or which industries are going to do well.
Okay. Mr. Basmalik, could you help us
What would be the
understand a
top
little
pick in the
bit?
railway
Yeah,
space?
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I missed. What is happening with the railway space?
Topics.
No. What would be your top pick in the railway space?
So railways, see, if you look at what are the kind of companies that what you have in railways, you have in one end you have the wagon makers where you have Titagarh, Jupiter. Uh, Incidentally, we have both of those names in our funds. Then you have suppliers who are in that Kavach space where you have HBL, Karnix kind of players. We have positions in HBL. Uh, you also have companies which are doing construction, so RVNL, IRFC. I mean, the entire the PSU space for construction, financing, etc. So that is the third side of railways. Personally, I think it is the wagon makers and the Kavach players who are going to benefit the most in what is happening right now.
Fair point. Mr. Basmalik, on the defense space also where you're bullish on, could you help us understand, how are you identifying players there? We've actually seen a lot of these stocks come off from their peak about 30-40% odd. Some of them are trying to slowly and gradually recover at least half of the losses. So at this point in time, are valuations an important metric? Are you looking at the order flows for such companies, the promise that they hold? What exactly is helping you pick and choose within the defense sector, sir?
See, first of all, I think defense again is a play where you are having more and more participation from uh, not only India but exports, right? Now, within that, valuations are very, significantly high for most of these the well-known defense names, right? So whether it is a HAL or those kinds of players or the shipyards, they are all fairly, in my opinion, fairly valued. Most of them are probably even overvalued. uh, Along with that, if you look at what is changing in the way wars are getting fought, it is getting more and more drone centric, it is getting more and more electronic. So I think we also now need to look at defense players who are just beyond the normal standard defense arms producers or defense producers. So people who are in the drone space, people who are doing uh, anti-drone systems, uh, those players could also be looked at. So you have to be a little bit more picky and choosy uh, in terms of defense, because also see what is more likely to happen is that as and when let's say we see some kind of a conclusion to Russia Ukraine, some kind of reduction in violence in the Middle East, uh, defense is going to not be front of mind for people, right? And then what typically happens is this becomes a very cyclical play once more. So people who are playing very high valuations, thinking that this is going to be a secular move, might end up getting disappointed.
Okay. Mr. Basu Malik,
247.
yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, please continue, Sakshi. Continue.
Mr. Basu Malik, what about the sunrise sectors? Are you bullish on those as well? Like, the solar space, the renewable energy basket, the EV space as well. You did say that power space interests you, but what about the entire renewable energy basket? How are you looking at that for the new year?
See, I think I call them the transformation sectors. So sectors which are undergoing, large transformations or transitions from one technology to the other. So it is, whether you see that in EVs, whether we see that in renewable powers. I think all of these are not 1-2 year stories. These are 5, 10, 20 year stories. And uh, India and the world is on a path which is inevitably towards that. So whether it is, the pace will vary in terms of the adoption of solar, wind, etc., and to my opinion also nuclear power. The pace will vary, but that is the direction we are definitely headed. So there is no reason for not being bullish on renewables or EVs or any one of these transition sectors.
Fair point. Let's just travel back to the markets. We are at 248 now, about 12 plus 30, 42 minutes left for trade. I'd like to mark some buyers only, which is circuits where we've seen strong moves coming in along with fairly decent volumes. So this is Prozone, 20% higher at 33.25. There is a strong move on Padamji paper, now trading at 196, limit up 10%. Merck Electronics, 10% higher, 26.35. A strong move coming into Suzlon today, circuit up 5. 63 Moons has been one of the outperformers over the last 2 months, 940, 949. This is 5% higher. EPAC, Kernex, and of course Wanbury. So these are stocks that are at circuit and are showing fairly decent volumes and good traction on the long side. Are there any circuits on the downside which I might like to mark? These are all names that I'll just stay away from. So let's look at the positivities in the markets. How about all-time highs? Praj Industries, this is a very strong breakout, and the underlying sugar sector is also doing pretty well, at least on the charts. A view, Mr. Basubalik, on Praj Industries, how do you see it at current levels?
I think it's a extension of the theme that we were just talking about. Praj is into many of the areas of transition of uh, energy, right? So whether it is ethanol, whether it is biofuels, Praj is very dominant and well entrenched player. So I'm actually pretty positive on Praj.
Okay.
All right. Well, apart from this, I also wanted to get a sense on this hospitality space also from you, Mr. Basu Malik. How are you looking at some of the stocks here? I mean, Taj GVK has pulled up in trade today, sharply higher, about 15 odd percent odd or so. But all of these other stocks have also been in focus, like IHCL or Lemon Tree. Maybe a Chalet Hotels. Some of these stocks have had a good run up in 2024. Do you think this theme can continue to make money for investors, and any key stocks that are top of your radar as well?
I think hotels are, if you just try to book a hotel in any festive period, the kind of price rises we've seen, the kind of occupancy we are seeing, I don't think we've seen this. Uh, I mean, in the last 2 3 years, we've been seeing this. I don't remember seeing this before that. Uh, and the the question that I keep asking myself is how long is this going to continue? Initially, we were all thinking that this is a post-COVID kind of a phenomenon where people are just just going out and enjoying themselves. But this trend is sustained significantly beyond the COVID period. So I honestly don't have an answer to your question, whether this is going to continue and for how long, but it is definitely continuing for sure. I mean, as of now, prices, occupancy is through the roof. So I don't see immediately, I mean, in the near term, these companies should do extremely well.
Okay, 252, and we've been following up on two sets of hotels there, which is Indian Hotels, the second largest chain as far as number of rooms are concerned from the Taj Group. Even today, Taj GVK, the separately listed venture, is doing phenomenally well, and all eyes are set on the independent listing of ITC Hotels, the demerged arm of the leisure business from the diversified company of ITC. Traction across the board. DB Realty, this is something that we've tracked often, is now quoting 4.8% higher. It had corrected very, very sharply. We had seen a high of about 194. From then on to about 168, and the last 2 days have seen fairly decent traction. From the NBFC space, there is no let up on 5-star finance. Now 798, the gains are totaling about 3.2%. And coming strong traction is, of course, the newest kid on the block in terms of fresh peaks. It's Blue Star. This is the very, very strong move, a low of 2100 today, 2091, and of course now 2349. A very, very sharp breakout accompanied by a very sharp surge in volume, and of course Muthoot Finance, this is something that I've been marking repeatedly. So fresh record high. The rally for the last 3 days has moved from a low of 2040 to what it is now, 2213. Sakshi.
Right. Mr. Basu Malik, the segment that I want to understand from you about is the mid and the small caps now, the broader markets. What do you think is in the offing for these two spaces, mid and small caps? There was a lot of fear about excesses, overvaluation in these spaces, in the latter half of 2024. But these are again climbing up fast and seeing records as well on the index level. What is your suggestion to investors here? How should one approach the stocks within this bucket?
See, I've always believed that mid caps, small caps are, they're not separate entities. We should not be segregating companies based on market caps. It's something that, institutions do probably more for a benefit, of selling to customers or whatever. But I don't see company, a promoter or a management getting up in the morning and thinking, my company is a mid cap, so I will behave differently from a large cap or from a small cap. Having said that, I think mid caps, small caps, especially mid caps, in my opinion, is the future. Are the companies which will grow. If you are able to find good companies, good businesses with good business models that are able to grow their top line and bottom line, you will actually end up making much more, returns than just buying blue chips or buying index funds or something like that. So, uh, if you are interested in stock picking, I think mid cap space, small cap space uh, is actually the place to be in. Valuations, etc., is always going to be challenging for, and that has been challenging for the last couple of years for India, right? To me, valuation is more a function of liquidity, and globally there has been a surge of liquidity, and until and unless that corrects, we will not see a normalization of valuations. But having said that, it, mid caps and small caps, I don't see any major concerns as such from mid caps and small caps, especially if you have a mid to long term horizon.
Sakshi, let's just spend time with some other indices. We've been marking Nifty and Bank Nifty with quite regularity. I just want to see what the pharma space is doing today. And we've been on pharma's case over the last a week or so. But strong moves coming into Laurus now. 2% higher, 615. Some gossip in the market that third quarter would be something good. And Laurus for the last 9-10 quarters has been a disappointing stock. But somehow Mojo coming back from 475 rupee levels, now 615. A strong move on Gland Pharma. High beta stocks such as Aurobindo Pharma, Granules, Natco, Lupin and Glenmark remain in an uptrend. And of course, in terms of all-time highs, we've been tracking Ipca, Lupin to some extent. So this is a space that has given fairly decent returns. Let's speak to Abhishek and find out if he has a view on pharma and any favorites that he has. Abhishek, your view on the drug sector?
Last year and a half, I've been very bullish on pharma. I think pharma is one sector which is more or less, non-cyclical, where you can find good scalable companies doing very well. The challenge with pharma is that you need to be very stock specific, because you can't really treat it as a sector, right? So that is something that you need to be careful about. Uh, Amongst the stocks that you named, I think I really like. I think Lupin is very interesting. A lot of these companies are doing very interesting things, whether domestically or through exports. Uh, Worth looking at.
Okay, then. Well, we will thank you, Mr. Basu Malik, then, for being with
Thank
us
you.
on this first day of 2025. And yet again, wishing you from the entire team of Business Today Television a fantastic year ahead. Maybe see you more often, guiding our viewers with your insights on the markets and how to go forward from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
All